Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mohamad Ammar Bin Azizan with my partner Wan Azim Bin Wan Izudin from Group D Med for IT. In this video, we're gonna explain about elementary row operation. For this operation will allow us to solve complicated linear system. Basically, this operation will transform the element in the augmented matrix into identity matrix, which contain 1 and 0. There are several steps in this operation. Before we proceed to the example, we should take a note first about this operation. First, perform the ERO column by column. Second, change the element in the main diagonal to 1. Next, change the other element in the column to 0. Okay, let's proceed to the example.
Elementary row operations are divided into two types, which is 2 by 2 operation and 3 by 3 operation. So for the 2 by 2, I will explain this one, what we see here over here. This is the new matrix that it will become after we finish to change this number. And the formula is divided into two, which is we usually call it the simple one and the tricky one. We are going to use the simple one when we are going to change any number into 1, and the tricky one when we want to change any number into 0. Okay, remember in elementary row operation, we have to solve column by column. And when we do the formula for that row, we have to change the entire. We have to use that formula to entire row. For row 1, column 1, it's 3, right? We have to change it into 1, or make sure it 1. Okay. So we use the simple formula R1 divide 3. It will become 3. It will become 1 for column 1. And remember, entire row. We use this for entire row. For column 2, R1 is 1. 1 over 3. It's still 1 over 3. Column solution also 5 over 3. Next, the tricky one. We are going to change this 3 into 0. How? It's already 1, right? At top of this 3. So we use R1 multiply negative 3. Why is negative 3? Because the number that we want to change in tricky formula, we are going to change it into, we are going to put it negative. If it's already have negative, we are going to remove that negative and plus the number itself, R2. So column 1, 1 multiply negative 3 plus 3, it will become 0. For column 2, 1 over 3 multiply negative 3 plus negative 1 become negative 2, and so on. Next, R2. Because we want to change this negative 2, we are going to use the simple formula. We are going to change this into 1 and finish the entire row, So for column number 1, R2 is 0, divide negative 2. It becomes 0, and column number 2, negative 2, divide negative 2, it will become 1, and column solution 2 divide negative 2, it become negative 1. This is new update. And then we're going to change this 1 over 3 into 0. We are going to use the tricky formula. R2 multiply negative 1 over 3, because it has no negative, right? just now plus R1, the number itself. So for column number 2, right, 1 multiply negative 1 over 3 plus 1 over 3, it becomes 0 right here. And for column solution, negative 1 multiply negative 1 over 3 plus 5 over 3, it becomes 2. So the final answer and the new matrix, we got new matrix and the final answer, x equal to 2 and y equal to negative 1. So for 3 by 3, step 1, we have to convert the augmented matrix form, which is ABC into the number, the new matrix form, it will become like this at the end. And of course, for 3 by 3, we also use these two formula, the simple one and the tricky one. And for step 1, we are going to change any number, or we want to make sure this row 1 column 1 is 1, right? Because this already 1, we are looking for that column again. We are going to change this into 0 because it will look like this at the end. We are going to change 2 into 0. We are going to use tricky one, R1 multiply negative 2, the number that we want to change, we put it negative, and plus the number itself 2, so it becomes 0. And for column 2, 1 multiply negative 2 plus negative 1, it will become negative 3. And for column number 3, 1 multiply negative 2, the number that we want to change, plus 1, okay, plus 1, R2 become negative 1, and so on. And we have to update it here for the entire row of row 2. And then we are going to change this 1 into 0. How? We are going to use R1 multiply the number that we want to change, we put it negative, plus R3, the number itself. So 1 multiply negative 1 plus 1 equal to 0. For column number 2, 1 multiply negative 1 plus negative 2 equal to negative 3. So, and so on, 2 and 11 for column solution. And we have to update it for the entire row of row number 3. Then we are going to change this negative 3 into 1, because we have to make sure that column, we are going to find the 1 first, okay? For the third column also, we have to change the 1 first. And then we can find the 0. We are going to use the simple one, which is R2 divide negative 3 for column number 2, right? So it will become 1. Negative 3 divide negative 3, it will become 1. So we can check if it 0 or not at column number 1. 0, which is row 2, right? For column number 1, divide negative 3, the formula, it becomes 0, and so on for column number 3, negative 1 over negative 3 become 1 over 3. And for column solution, negative 1 divide negative 3, it become 1 over 3 also. And then we are going to change this negative 3 into 0. We are going to use the tricky one, R2, we got the 1, R2 multiply 3, the number that we want to change, we remove the negative because it already have negative, and plus the number itself. So this is column number 2, right? We just look on column number 2. 1 multiply 3 plus negative 3, it will become 0. And column 3, 1 over 3 for column for row 2, right? For row 2, 1 over 3 multiply 3, the formula, and plus 2 r3, this 2 it become 3, and so on for column solution. 1 over 3 multiply 3 plus 11, it become 12, and we update the entire row here. And then we are going to change I change this one first. 3 into 1. So I'm going to use the simple one, the simple formula, which is R3 divide 3. So it become this. It become 1 for column number 3. And for column solution, 12 equal to 3. 12 divide 3. It become 4. And then I'm going to change the this one, 1 over 3 into 0. So R3 multiply negative 1 over 3 plus R2. We only look at column number 3. So 1 multiply negative 1 over 3 plus 1 over 3, it becomes 0. And so on for the entire row. And then I'm going to change this 1 into 0. R3 multiply negative 1 plus R1. R3, 1. This one at column number 3. Multiply negative 1, the number that we want to change, we put it negative, and plus the number itself, 0. And we can check for the other column whether it's true or not, and it's not changed, it's good, and we have to update it for the entire row. And then I change this one into 0 to 0. R2 multiply negative 1 plus R1. R2, we look for column number 2. 1 multiply negative 1, the number that we want to change, we put it negative, plus 1, it becomes 0, and so on for the entire row. And then we got this. We got the new matrix. If we got this 1 at the diagonal, 1 for the diagonal and 0 in everywhere else, and then it will become our answer at the end for ABC. So A equals to 2, B equals to negative 1, and C equals to 4.